All right, this message is coming for those of you that have been kind of getting reliant on possibly like, say, cards, but you have been like in your own world. You could be using a pendulum, could be using a card, but you're very like with yourself. You got very stubborn to say like, I'm the one that's going to do it. This is how this is going to happen. Like you may have pushed yourself away from friend circles or online communities or even anything in the extension of spirituality. It just feels like some ostracization has occurred. And so what the universe is speaking to you at this point in time is simply about bringing back the form of community. Okay. So in an essence of how did you used to do things before? Because it feels like you've been a part of community before, whether it was in your personal life or again, possibly online. It's kind of coming back to the communal sense of things. And that in itself could possibly give you some more clarity. So many times we could be even in and like paying for a community, for example, and not actually engaging within the community, because then we have all these reasons as to why. So I'm going to briefly share something with myself that I recently just did. And it like opened up a lot of doors, which seems like kind of where you guys are. And because you have an invitation card that I'm going to show you in a second. Because right now you have reversed 7 of keys, the ascent. It's reversed. So you are at a time and at a place where like the direction you've been going and the way about it this entire time, like this could have been years, months, is like a no. You have a no in terms of how you've been going about it. Who you have been becoming along the way is where you've been getting your like green light goes. But you've been attaching to the external world, as well as some egoic personas have been like suitcasing themselves along with you, basically saying like, this is the way that we're going to do it. This is the way that it's going to go. And you've been so attached in a way to everything that you don't want anymore that you haven't really been forging so much of a path of the stuff that you are calling in. Like it's great, absolutely great to know what you don't want. It helps you learn what you do want. But now we got to have a lot of focus on that. So going back to myself with communities, because that's where they're kind of saying a lot of this is going to be found for you, is being a part of something. Because I've been a part of something for quite a while. I have chosen not to do any one-on-one coaching anytime soon, at least in this last year or two. I haven't done any one-on-one coaching at all, with the exception of like 1 or 2 sessions, and that was it. I'm part of a few communities now, and ironically, most of them, up until recently, I didn't say a single word. Yet I'm on my own trying to build a community again, and like wondering like, what's the standstill or what's the output? Is like, I personally am not executing myself out in my truth and my honesty of myself, because what I ended up writing, and ever since I publicly wrote it, it was literally like a breath of fresh air for me I think I have the fear that if I go and communicate in other communities in which I'm a member instead of a leader, I feel inadequate. I feel like a fraud. I feel like a loser. I feel like, if I'm sharing actually like what I'm going through, like this is kind of embarrassing. And so I was realizing I was hesitant communicating inside of communities, literally because I didn't feel good enough. So that's not a very heightened vibrational state to stay in. I know that in the back of my mind and the way that I work, that's not a go for me. That's a no. That's a big no. And why a lot of things haven't had a lot of fluidity. I've had movement and I've had some flow, but I haven't had full fluidity in a couple of years until recently. I'm finally moving back into some like, wow, opportunity that felt super stagnant or super dead-ended. Because right now what you have, your invitation, is it says middle world, but it really is, it's like when conditions are favorable for you. So meaning like this is a time externally to match with your internal sense of self, with the identity changes that you've been making. So you're becoming internally reliable on you, because more than ever in your life, you have become more self-accountable, and you have become, in a way, more brutally honest with yourself. But again, instead of focusing on everything that could go wrong and everything that you hate, we're doing a little bit more. The glass is more in your favor. I'm not going to say full or empty because you might not want a lot of water right now, or whatever beverage is in there. But it is favorable in the conditions. If you stay in your honesty, it'll match your next identity that you've shifted into. And it's more of like, the world is your oyster. What shall you create? Okay. Like they're encouraging you to have fun with it, to do something different with it. We have to take the cynicism. We have to take the pride. We have to take the, I will never be like that. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. You have to shelve those things. Feel free, put them on the shelf. You don't have to get rid of them. You can glance at them, use them as like wall art, but they're not the identity that you're going to actually wear. That's not you anymore. And so that's what the universe is saying. Obviously, this isn't literally about cards, but if you've been too solitary in your ways of approaching your decision making, they're saying you're a little bit narrow-minded, and sometimes just simply stating something energetically disperses it out, which can be a really beautiful, uplifting thing. You just have to give yourself that opportunity to be able to be vulnerable enough to do so. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is a little bit shorter than I normally do them, but it's just that it's realizing like everything about life is not always going to be like amazing, but it also doesn't mean that it's bad. There isn't this constant high vibe flow that you're going to be in. You can have high vibe moods and moments, and some days are going to be better than others. But like most of life, and the thing that I'm very passionate about teaching is the middle. The middle is where you want to be. Like most of the time, this is where we're striving to stay at, is in the middle, because moments, they're just moments. That's like, this was the best day ever. If every day is the best day ever, then it's not the best day ever. It's just a day. Do you catch my drift? So it loses the specialness of it. And then if every day is the worst day ever, well, then it seems like your life's just shit, because every day just sucks, right? And then is it really bad, or is that just the life that you've created for yourself? Because it doesn't really seem like it's that bad. It just seems like this is what it is every single day. And it's only your perception of your perspective that considers it bad or good, or like a 10 or a 0. So you have this choice right now, in a way, like polarity. You have the choice to be able to stop being so solitary. So this is this is not a solitary time. This is a communal time, whether it be more time with your family, more time literally with others if you're pursuing online business of any sort, or looking to broaden your network, possibly in your career. You want to gather. You want to do things. It might be out of your comfort zone. Like another just example for perspective, my husband started a new job recently out of curiosity, and he's been retired and needed another purpose in life, and was kind of losing himself. And anywho, he's been at this job now for almost 2 months. And yeah, like recently there's a person in town that is just here briefly, very similar position to my husband. Long story short, they've already gone out to eat once this week. My husband's usually one to bring his lunch. And nevertheless, like today, he even wrote me, he's like, oh, I did bring because he turned down lunch yesterday. And because he's like, oh, I don't want to make it a habit. And I'm just like, this is a short thing of somebody being in town, and like, who cares if you made it a habit? Like, why don't you do something out of your comfort zone? So he's learning to gather, because he's very used to doing this. He's very used to being this of everything he's ever done in life. And this is the first office job he's ever had ever, at least in this context. And like, yeah, it's just different. And so he's even learning. So for perspective, how that means for community. For me, this is family. Also just a reminder, because it goes into my vulnerability bucket, that I am human. I will always be human. I'm an advocate about the human experience. Yet sometimes I forget that publicly, like, probably what's perceived isn't always the reality, because then I share that reality within my communities. But my community goes way more than a paywall. You know what I mean? And so like, I'm learning that about myself, that like, it's okay for me to do that in other communities as a student, as a member, as a part, instead of at the top, because the top is me always trying to control things. The top is us on the mountain by ourselves trying to control things. And they're saying like, no more. You're not here to do this alone anymore. Stop trying to live life alone. Stop trying to be adamant about doing it your way and that it has to be you. Otherwise, you're not sharing that opportunity. Like, you can still be amazing, powerful, and a leader and not be on the stage. And you can be in the audience and you still could be serving. Like at no point. And then you're sitting in that audience with that community watching somebody on stage and you have absolutely no animosity, absolutely no, I should be up there. You're not even thinking any of that. You might be communicating and having conversations and experiencing joy and just community. And in the essence of you have this conversation, you listen to somebody's story and you share your gifts. And your gift, it doesn't mean it's a spiritual gift. It just means that it's things that you're maybe really good at and hyper vigilant with, tools and tricks and just perspectives. Give yourself the grace to be able to share that with others without needing it to be on a pedestal, your flaws and all of it. Like really embody the human experience.